In order to be approved in Norway, a GMO will be evaluated according to our Gene Technology Act. This is an act from 1993, which says that a GMO should not have any health risks or environmental risks. In addition, it should contribute to sustainable development, be benefit to society, and ethical. So this broader approach to GMOs are very good in order to capture all the different elements that we should take into consideration when we say yes or no to a certain GMO.
Historically, the greatest threat to crop diversity has been the modernization of agriculture. If you want an agricultural system that's vibrant and healthy and doesn't require loads of pesticides and other chemicals and gigantic amounts of fertilizer and water, then you're going to need the diversity in the seed vault. It's absolutely necessary to that type of clean, healthy, green agriculture.
Well, I thought we were going home after Norway, but we've ended up in France because this 2-year study on the health impacts of GMOs and Roundup was just released by this Dr. Seralini. And this is a question I've had from the very beginning when I first found out about GMOs, and that has never been really answered, is what are the health impacts of GMOs, if any? Dr. Gilles Eric Seralini is professor of molecular biology at the University of Caen and serves as president of the scientific board for the Committee of Independent Research and Information on Genetic Engineering. Seralini set out over 2 years ago to conduct the most thorough toxicological test on the health impacts of Monsanto's Roundup Ready NK603 GMO corn, which was approved in the European Union almost a decade ago after only a 3-month study by Monsanto itself. Seralini's plan was to study it over the full life of a rat, with the aim to predict how humans might be affected by consuming GMOs. Beyond the GMO corn itself, he tested the health effects of Roundup, the most prevalent herbicide in the world, found in our soil, streams, air, rain, and recently in human urine. What Seralini found after 2 years of detailed analysis went beyond his own projections and concerns. His findings erupted throughout Europe. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time. So I guess my first question is, as a scientist and as the lead author of this 2-year study, do you think there are implications for human health from GMOs?
Of course, I think there are severe implications for human health due to my research. We have demonstrated clearly that in males, especially, livers and kidneys were reached at a very high level. Kidneys were also rich in females, but females were prone to big mammary tumors.
The first signs of health effects occurred in the 4th and 5th months, results that 3-month studies would have never seen. At 14 months, 10 to 30% of treated females developed tumors. There were no tumors in the control group. At 24 months, 50 to 80% of females had up to 3 tumors per animal. The groups treated with Roundup showed the greatest rates of tumors at 80%. Pituitary glands in females were the second most affected. The androgen and estrogen balance in serum was modified by both the GMO corn and Roundup treatments. In males, the liver, hepatodigestive tract, and kidneys suffered most, and estrogen levels more than doubled in males with the highest Roundup treatment dose. We've been eating GMOs in some form in the United States for 15 years. So why aren't people walking around with big tumors or obvious health effects in our country? So what would translate 6 months in a rat's life to human years?
2 years of a rat is an entire life. So as tumor arise mostly by the end of the first year and within the second year. So that means at the end of the first part of the life, which is around 30 to 40. And we are surprised to see a lot of breast tumors in women within this part of the life. We don't know what they are due to. I'm not saying that everything is due to GMO, but I think that GMO could contribute to some extent to these tumors. We have the fact that Roundup can kill human cells at very low levels and even lower levels, close to the levels you find in the river or in the tap water. Then you have hormonal effect, hormonal imbalance within the cells that are necessary to form the genital system, for instance.
Less than a day after Seralini's study was published in France's top scientific journal, the Science Media Centre of London put out a press release discrediting the report with criticisms from 8 top scientists, all of them with strong ties to the biotech industry.
They are well known, these people that defend Monsanto, because they are the first one to shout in the media to say, well, Seralini's study is nothing, and they don't want to open the basket in order to show what they have done. They can renew the test on their own and show what happens. But in the meantime, we should request to forbid these products.
Professor Seralini was widely criticized for the type of rats he used, the Sprague Dawley variety. But this was the same kind of rat Monsanto used in its studies to prove the safety of its GMO NK603 corn. Their 3-month study wasn't questioned, but instead led to its market release in the EU. Seralini was also criticized for not releasing his study's raw data, but he has offered to do so if Monsanto will also release its raw data. Monsanto has refused.
The shame is that in North America, you don't have any traceability of the food, so you don't know really who has eaten what. Everybody is eating contaminating levels of these products. 98% of agricultural edible GMOs are just made in the countries where there is no labeling. So the first thing is to obtain labels, but there is another simple thing that doesn't cost $1, but that will change the world. You request by the law the transparency on the blood analysis on rats that have allowed the authorization, the market release of GMOs, and then we will really go in another world, in the real 21st century, I hope.